Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Truckers Podcast, FYI. I'm your host, Doug from Ontario, Canada, and welcome to the show, Fast Food and Our Body. Thank you for joining me. Well, good morning. Thank you for joining me this fine Saturday. It is a little cold uh, this morning here in southern Ontario, Canada. And we have some snow in the air. We got through that ice storm that we had in the middle of the week, and that happened over Wednesday night into Thursday. And this is probably going to be the last of the cold that is pushing through here. Right now it's like, I don't know, -10, but it gradually is going to start slowly warming up throughout the day. And that's good. Not far long before spring is going to be here. So really looking forward to that. So I hope you had a good week. I hope your weekend is going to be good. So so when it comes to fast foods, when we get into um, eating at McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King and um, other fast foods that we like to get those carbs in there quickly, because we're hungry and we hadn't had much to eat that day. We want something really quick. And or you're rushing home and you say, "Oh, does everybody want McDonald's for dinner today?" So you're going through the drive-through, and we go into the closest burger joint down the street. We go through that drive-through, and we seem to like all the options that are there, but there's a definite downside. In order to serve up food so quickly, cheaply, and consistently, many fast food restaurants focus on process and efficiency instead of serving quality, nutritious foods. Now, such as, burgers, french fries, and breakfast sandwiches become the centerpiece of your diet, that could take serious toll on your health. And the unhealthy diets increase your chances of developing depression, cancer, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. Now, I'm guilty. We all are, every single one of us. And there were times, when I used to be over the road. I would get home late, and like I said, I haven't had really much that day. I got to get something in me. There were times I was getting home, you know, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and the burger joints are open. I said, no, I need something really quick, and pull through the drive-through. Stop at McDonald's. Get that Big Mac and fries and a Coke and hurry home and scoff it down. So when we're looking at what's considered fast foods, and during the 1940s and 1950s, and today it becomes such a staple of culture that as many as 1 in 3 Americans eat fast food every single day. Probably Canadians too. And fast food, when you see it, it's highly processed, mass produced food that is prepared quickly, usually on a grill, in a fryer, or in a microwave. Fast food restaurants follow very specific preparation methods to make sure that the crispy, greasy fries you expect every time. Of course, we know McDonald's French fries, and they probably just the best French fries out there in any fast food chain. Right? So, why is fast food bad for you? Different foods can take and can have an effect on everyone in different ways. But here are just some of the things that frequently eating fast food might do to your body. Raise your blood pressure. So these fast foods are packed with sodium, which act as a preservative and enhances taste. Everything that's processed, packaged, or boxed is going to have sodium. The problem is high sodium diets are known to increase blood pressure, which puts stress on your cardiovascular system, and over time, blood pressure can stiffen and narrow your blood vessels, becoming a major risk factor for heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. And ideally, most adults should try to keep their salt intake under 1,500 milligrams per day, according to the American Heart Association. This is currently recommendations to allow up to 2,300 milligrams daily because sodium is so prevalent in our diets and it can add up really quick. Oh, Mike is on the show here asking me what am I hauling? We haul general freight. Is what we haul. Now, for some examples, like that bacon cheeseburger, and with that you can closely get 1,500 milligrams of sodium. See, I was looking at um, I was sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Um, oh, one thing that this is the one thing that I started to do, and I've been doing it for a while, and I thought, well, other ways of changing my diet, little bits here and there, stuff like that. I started with the SOS diet: no salt, no oil, no sugar. And if I do, and if I do use any salt, like if I'm going to make pasta and like that, I put a sprinkle of salt in the water, boiling the water, make my pasta. And after that, I don't add any salt. I'll put pepper, whatever, or other spices or anything else like that. Other things about fast foods, and it leaves you bloated. No, yeah, Mike. No, I'm a home daily truck driver. I don't cross the border. I haven't crossed the border in many many years. So getting back here to the fast food, leaving you bloated. So foods that are high in sodium, high in fat, are heavy with refined carbohydrates, such as bread, buns, or breading, can leave you feeling bloated. And if you add soda to your meal, the carbonation can make it worse. And bloating should be temporary, but it could cramp your style if you're wearing pants that are tighter in the waist, or if you're trying to get the rings off your fingers, and it drives up your cholesterol. Foods that are fried in oils and high in fat, and that includes saturated fats. Eating too much saturated fats can drive up your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, which puts you at risk of heart disease. The American Heart Association recommends that no more than 6% of your daily calories come from saturated fats. If you eat 2,000 calories a day, that's about 13 grams, or the amount that is in one bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich. And also, these fast foods, they contribute to digestive problems. Bagels, muffins, anything breaded, they're all processed carbohydrates, and the lack of fiber. Adequate amounts of fiber, 25 to 35 grams a day, helps keep things moving in your digestive tract. It lowers your risk of other conditions associated with strain or constipation, such as hemorrhoids and hernias. Dietary fibers also keep your good gut bacteria flourish and keeps you feeling full. If you rely heavily on fast food, you struggle to get the requisite amount. For an example, a coffee shop blueberry muffin will give you nearly 20% of your daily carbohydrate needs, but only a gram or two of fiber. And then we talk about weight gain. Now, if you're going through the drive-through and you grab a value meal for dinner, chances you'll end up eating a bigger portion and higher calorie foods than you would if you were cooking at home. The extra pounds. So these refined carbs, with all these added sugars, it's going to be turned into fat. Your body's just going to store it, and you're going to start to gain weight. And there's what I talked about, and there's the sugar factor. Sugar is a major culprit in the obesity epidemic, and it hides in a lot of our foods, including drinks and sauces. And guess how much sugar is in your morning cafe or mocha? Up to 25 grams. Or in that vanilla milkshake, more than 80 grams. And if you make it a large, it's nearly 20 teaspoons of sugar. I have sugar in my coffee. I have one sugar in my coffee because I don't like drinking coffee black. Of course, and with some cream. I like coffee, but I don't like bitterness of coffee. So I put one sugar in it. Well, if I have tea, I drink my tea black. I have no sugar in my tea. And it's draining your energy. A quick hit of refined carbs and sugar causes a spike in your blood sugar, which prompts your body to produce a surge of insulin to quickly bring it down. And the spike and crash cycle can leave you feeling tired and cranky. I felt that way. I've probably felt that way. A balanced meal with protein, healthy fats, fiber rich carbohydrates takes longer for your body to digest and absorb. This slows the release of sugar into your bloodstream so you get sustained energy without a crash. And how it affects your mood as well. So when you eat a diet that's high in saturated fat, sodium, sugar, and refined carbs, you're getting too much of these things, but you're also missing out on a lot of other important nutrients, fruits and vegetables. And beyond the iceberg lettuce and tomato slices that come with fast food, sandwiches are rich with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that nourish your body and improve your mood. And eating a lot of processed foods can even increase your risk for depression as well. I have cut out a lot of the refined processed foods in my diet. I can walk into a coffee shop and all those donuts out on display. It doesn't even faze me. Took me a while to get over it. It's like it's like trying to quit smoking. You get those cravings when you stop buying that stuff. You obviously you're craving it. You want it. It's like cigarettes. You crave it. You want it. It took me a while. It really did. And your candy bars, your chips, your cookies, any other baked goods that we add into our pantries or refrigerator or whatever the case may be. None of that stuff is in the house. None of it. 5 of the most unhealthy fast food options. Pizza. We all love pizza. I would like Friday nights or whatever the case like that. That's one of the fastest things too, is pizza. Stop at your favorite pizzeria or, have it ready when you get there, call ahead and you pick up whatever type of pizza that you enjoy. And the average slice of pepperoni pizza contains about 680 milligrams of sodium, 12 grams of fat, including 5 grams of saturated fat, and 300 calories. But who eats just one slice? 3 slices from a large pizza provides more than 2,000 milligrams of sodium, almost the daily limit for the average person in just one meal. Burgers and fries. A typical double cheeseburger and large fries provides about 1,200 calories and up to 1,700 milligrams of sodium. And you make it a combo with a large soda, you'll top that 1,500 calories. And when we get into the cold cuts, we go to our favorite sub place. Lunch meat tends to be loaded with sodium, saturated fat, The carcinogenic agents called nitrates and nitrates, which are known to increase the risk of certain cancers. 3 ounces of processed deli meat can pack up to 1,300 milligrams of sodium, even before you add the cheese, condiments, bread, and the chips. A hot dog. Well, we all love that too. The ballpark dog, going to the baseball game, or maybe a hockey game and you have a hot dog. And that typical Frankfurter without condiments contains more than half of your daily recommended saturated fat intake at 33% of your sodium intake. And if you usually eat 2 hot dogs, it would be close to your day's element of saturated fat and sodium. Fried chicken. Oh, Kentucky Fried Chicken, probably the most famous chicken fast food restaurant out there. Just one fried chicken breast from your favorite chicken place packs 500 or more calories, 34 grams of fat, 1,200 plus milligrams of sodium. Now, what about making your healthier fast food choices? Making healthier fast food choices. I mean, is there really such a thing? Whatever I just told you here, is there really such thing as a healthier fast food choices? It's actually possible to eat fast food without sabotaging your healthy diet, but it requires a little legwork. Looking for meals with lean proteins, veggies, and fiber, and avoid anything supersized. And we all can make that informed choice by doing research to find out the nutritional content of a particular fast food item. And all the major restaurants should have that information online or able to hand it to you in the restaurant if you ask. Well, I guess depending on what kind of restaurant you're going to. If you're going to continue to go to Wendy's, you're going to continue to go. I mean, they do offer plant-based burgers. I mean, if you partake in doing that, sure, there's all kinds of other choices. I myself has tried plant-based burgers, and they're actually pretty good. Now, good carbs, bad carbs. Whole versus refined carbs. Many different types of carbohydrates containing foods that can vary in their health effects. Carbs are sometimes referred as simple versus complex or whole versus refined. And whole carbs are minimally processed and contain the fiber found naturally in the food, while refined carbs have been processed more and have had that natural fiber removed or changed. Examples of whole carbs include vegetables, barley. A couple examples, potatoes. I like the sweet potatoes more than I like, the white potatoes or whatever like that. Whole grains and oats and beans. And the refined carbs, sugar, sweetened beverages, white bread, pastries, other items made with flour, which I do not have white bread in my diet. I do not have pastries in my diet. I don't have sugar sweetened beverages. I do not go to the grocery store and pick up a case of pop. The refined carbohydrates tend to cause spikes in your blood sugar levels, which can lead to a substantial crash that can trigger hunger and lead to food cravings. That's why you can sit down and you can eat 6 donuts. That's why you can sit down and you can eat a bag of chips and not even think about it. And then you look into the bottom of the bag of chips; they're all gone, and you're not even full. And so what they're called. So in other words, when you're doing that, these are all empty calories. And the added sugars, which should be limited as diets high in added sugars are linked to the increased risk of many different chronic diseases, and especially type 2 diabetes. Whole carbs should be part of a balanced diet. Whole food sources of carbohydrates are loaded with nutrients and fiber and don't cause the spikes and the dips in your blood sugar levels. And there's been numerous studies done on high fiber carbohydrates, including vegetables, fruits, and whole grains, so that eating them is linked to improve your health and lower the risk of disease. Now, in the mornings, I don't eat like right away when I get up, and generally I'll take a piece of fruit with me along the way to work or whatever like that. But generally, on the weekends, I won't have anything. Like, I don't eat after 8 o'clock. And generally that's when we get into that habit of eating these empty carbs, or you're feeling hungry and you want that quick fix. So either you're going to go on Uber Eats and order your favorite fast food, or you're going to go pick it up yourself. You're going to order pizza because the game is still on. I don't eat after 8 o'clock at all. So, and when I do, it will be, a piece of fruit or something. And then, like, on weekends, I will have oatmeal. So, and I would put little blueberries on the oatmeal. No sugar. People love to put brown sugar on their oatmeal, or the white sugar, or whatever the case like that. No sugar at all. Add some blueberries. Doesn't that have to be blueberries? It could be strawberries, or the blackberries, or whatever. Even maybe a little bit of banana, or something on your oatmeal. Now, not all carbs are created equal. Refined carbs are linked to obesity and other diseases, but whole carbohydrates, which are minimally processed, have many health benefits. Now, a low carb diet conundrum. No discussion about carbs is complete without mentioning low carb diets. So these types of diets restrict carbohydrates while allowing plenty of proteins and fat. So there are studies out there that include that low carb diets can help you lose weight. Research tends to focus on these who have obesity and or type 2 diabetes. Some of these studies show that low carb diets can improve weight loss and lead to improvements in various health markers, including that HDL, good cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure, and others compared to when the standard low fat diet. Now, carbs, you know, the refined carbs or the other carbohydrates that we eat, carbs are not the cause of obesity. Though limiting your carbs can lead to weight loss, it doesn't mean that eating carbs in of itself is which is cause weight gain in the first place. It's true that added sugars or refined carbs are linked to the increased chances of developing obesity. The same is not true for fiber-rich whole food sources of carbohydrates. It's how much of the other stuff that you are eating. Like like you go to the grocery store and all these processed foods. You pick up um, fish sticks. You pick up chicken fingers. You pick up chicken nuggets. These are all processed, high in sodium. No nutritional value, very little. And it's really unfortunate though too. Look at the prices of food today. How much things have increased. Families out there struggling to put food on their tables, and they're gonna go after these sort of foods that are high in saturated fats and sodium. It's gonna fill you quick. So, many people following a low carb diet claim that carbs are not an essential nutrient. And this may be true to an extent, but there's also critical components of the balanced diet. Some believe that the brain doesn't need the recommended 130 grams of carbohydrates per day, while some areas of the brain can use the ketones. The brain relies on carbohydrates to provide its fuel. And the nutrition carb containing foods such as vegetables and fruits provide offer a variety of healthy benefits. So yeah, even when it like when it comes to eating meat, red meat, white meat such as chicken and pork, eating fish and stuff like that. Um, Doing a variety throughout the week. Um, Try if you can. Try if you can stay away from the refined carbs as much as you possibly can. I know we love our sweets. I know we like to get those things into our bodies. You know, they obviously, they taste they taste great, but these refined carbs aren't. They're not doing you any favors. Now, I did a little research too about red meat. Is red meat bad for you? It depends. Health benefits and consequences often boil down to what type of red meat you're eating, how often, and how much. Choosing white meat or vegetarian options are your best bets for living an overall healthy lifestyle. So, what is considered red meat? Meats are categorized either white or red based on the amount of the myoglobin found in the animal's muscles. Myoglobin is a protein found in meat that produces a red color when it is exposed to oxygen. So red meat is the meat of the mammals that include the livestock category, which is pork, lamb, veal, and beef. What's the healthiest red meat? Well, the evidence shows that red meat and processed meats such as bacon and sausage are not good for your health. Anytime you choose to have red meat, it should be the leanest cut you can find, and you should limit the amount. I mean, how many people out there eat steak every single night? I couldn't. I mean, wouldn't you just get sick of it? Having a steak every single day? But it's not a good idea. Well, so when it comes to pork, choose the lean options of pork such as pork loin, tenderloin, or the center cut chops. Cut any viable fat off the pork. Avoid items such as sausage and bacon. And when it comes to your steak, choose a leaner cuts of steak such as a flank, round, sirloin, tenderloin, the ball tip. And these cuts usually have less calories and fat, more protein than some of the other options, and cut any viable fat off the steak. And how often should you eat it? This is the $1 million question. How often should you eat red meat? Try to limit your red meat consumption to 1 to 2 servings per week, which is about 6 ounces or less per week. If you have heart disease or high cholesterol, the recommendations is to limit red meat to less than to or equal to 3 ounces per week. Or you just cut it out altogether. There's other choices. Are there any health benefits to red meat? Well, it has many vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients that your body needs, obviously. Meat can be a good source of protein, B vitamins, iron, and zinc. Are there any health benefits of not eating red meat? Well, that all depends. I mean, you want a plant-based diet that includes lots of fruits, vegetables, grains, and nuts is ideal, like the Mediterranean diet. You can also include fish and other white meats. People don't eat red meat or greatly limited and generally consumed for calories, less fat, have a lower risk of heart disease and death. So you have your 6-ounce steak or your 3-ounce steak once or twice a week. Why is eating red meat or too much of it? Okay, they're not saying don't eat it, they're saying don't eat a lot of it. If you're that steak guy that you got to have it 4 or 5 times a week, potentially cancer causing categories, processed meats at level one, um, the carcinogens, placing them into the same category as cigarettes and alcohol. The organization categorized red meat as level 2A. The report looked at the rates of the colon cancer and found that eating the equivalent of 2 slices of bacon per day increased the absolute risk of developing colon cancer by 1%. And on the other hand, a diet rich in fiber, fruits, and vegetables have been associated with a reduction in risk of the development of colon cancer. Cardiovascular health data shows time and time again that red meat is linked with high cholesterol and in turn increases the risk of cardiovascular disease such as heart attacks, strokes. Consumption of less red meat is associated with decreased rates of obesity in both children and adults. And of course, the high cost. Now, if you want to, like everything that we eat, it's entirely up to you. Your health is on you. Five ways to cut back on eating red meat. Embrace meatless Mondays. If you currently eat meat daily, choose one day per week to cook a vegetarian meal. That is, there is a national movement to eat vegetarian on Mondays. Never heard of it. I didn't know that. I guess we'll start a vegetarian Monday. But if other days work for you or your family, choose that day instead. Start cooking with seafood. Cook fish or other seafood one night per week. Swap red for white. Skinless chicken. You don't have to put hamburger in spaghetti sauce. You can cut up some turkey, chicken instead. And of course, these white meat options work great in dishes such as tacos and chili. And put veggies on display. Put vegetables on the red carpet. And of course, salads too. There's so many different types of greens out there for salads. You know, still with salad dressings, read the labels when it comes to, sugar, is added in those dressings. Maybe put a little bit of oil on your salad, just tiny little bit. You should have a salad every single day, and your vegetables. You could have, think of a cup. Think of 1 cup. At least try to a cup of vegetables every single day. And that's broccoli, that's carrots, that's cauliflower, carrots, peas, not the sweet peas. There's a lot of things that we can do in our diets and the consumptions of what we're eating. I prefer, I was out last night. We went to the hockey game last night. And it was at a local sports bar. And it's a good place. They have really good food. And that their hamburgers are a lean ground beef. And of course, you can have your choice of French fries, or you can have your choice of mashed potatoes, or you can have your choice of salad, or vegetables, or whatever the case may be. Going to going to Wendy's and Burger King, and McDonald's is not on my menu. By cutting, I cut out. I mean, you're gonna get your natural sugars from things, anyways. You're gonna get natural sugars from fruit, but you don't need that added sugar. You don't need those donuts. You don't need those pastries. You don't need those cookies. So, like I said, so I'll have a cup of coffee in the morning, a little bit of cream and one sugar. I'm drinking a tea right now. It's black, no sugar. I'll have my oatmeal in a little bit, and I'll probably put some blueberries on top. No other added sugars. Nothing. It took me. It took me a while. I mean, we'll get over the cravings. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'5". I was up probably 145 pounds, 148 pounds. In over probably a 7-month period of cutting out these refined sugars and these refined carbs, whatever the case may be. You know, I lost 10 pounds, and that's all out front. Some people call it the beer belly. And that's all out front. To drop 10 pounds over a period of time of cutting out of all these refined sugars, all this junk food, all that stuff, cutting that out of my diet. And the other problem that I have is that, okay, I'm doing all these things, I cut all this stuff out, you know, I'm eating healthier, I cut back my alcohol consumption. I had one beer last night before the game. I didn't have any beer during the game. So the last time I had any alcohol was Super Bowl Sunday, and I only had 2 beers that entire game. So cutting back on, cutting back on alcohol intake. But here's my other problem. I smoke. Trying really hard to quit. Cutting back. Should I be going cold turkey? Limiting how many I maybe smoke a day. Maybe choosing the nicotine gum, or maybe choosing the patch, and then maybe looking at other options out there, to to help myself quit smoking. I'm 60. I got a quarter of my life left. So if I want to live to be, the average Bale, lives to be 79.8 years of age. I mean, round it off to 80. And, I ask myself, and I say, self, okay, you're not eating all this junk food. You're not eating all this refined crap. You're eating healthier. You've really, I mean, really knocking down the consumption of alcohol, because I didn't drink throughout the week during the weekdays. I got to get up early in the morning between 5 and 5:30, Monday to Friday, to go to work. I'm certainly not going to feel like shit and hungover. So what would I do when the weekends rolled around? I would binge drink, and that's 3 or more drinks. And in the evening, we'd go down to our favorite pub, or favorite bar, or sports bar, whatever the case may be, and I'd have 8 or 9 beers. And that's, they're talking, when it comes to alcohol, I mean, they're talking about, having, 1 or 2 beers a week. Only 1 to 2 beers a week. And the studies have come out that, alcohol does cause certain cancers. Here in Ontario and across Canada, they've been talking about wanting to put warning labels on alcohol, as we put the warning labels on cigarettes, and graphic labels on cigarettes. No amount of alcohol is good. So I had a beer last night with my meal. That's it for the week for me. And besides, you know, here in Canada, the beer prices vary from province to province. And it seems to me here in Ontario, Canada, the largest province of Canada, the most populated province of Canada, you go buy a case of beer and it's nearly $60. And if you're the type of person that likes to drink 3, 4 beers a day, you're going to be forking out $60 a week just on alcohol. And besides, it might not just be beer. You go to the liquor store and buy your favorite rum or your spritz or whatever you're going to buy. On top of that, cigarettes are costly too. For a large pack of cigarettes, it's $16. Alcohol, tobacco, gasoline, are the highest tax. So it looks like to me, for me, the last bad habit to cut out is smoking. It's a terrible addiction. It really is. It used to be the thing to do decades ago. You could smoke in any public building you wanted to. It didn't matter. Restaurants, wherever. Now it's shunned upon. Can't smoke in any public building. Nowhere. They even have areas where you can actually smoke to be a certain distance away from the front entrance of any public building. You cannot smoke around playgrounds. Some beaches don't allow smoking on the beach. You have to walk out in a parking lot. So why do I continue to smoke? Why do I do it? Stress, anxiety. Everyday life isn't horrible. Something I got to work on. Considering how much of those bad foods that I no longer digest, that I don't eat them. I just don't. To get over those cravings. But the nicotine craving is just more powerful than fighting off a donut or a candy bar. That became easy over time. I go to bed and I go to bed at night like everybody else. I average, probably 7 hours a night of sleep. I'm sleeping, I'm not smoking, obviously. I don't wake up in the middle of the night to go downstairs and go outside and have a cigarette. So there's 7 hours that I wasn't smoking. So why the hell do I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is pour myself a cup of coffee, or I go out to Tim Hortons and get a coffee and have a cigarette after 7 hours of not even smoking because I'm sleeping. So if I've gone those 7 hours, why can't I go another 7 hours? Is there something in the brain that turns on when I wake up and say, "Oh, Doug, cigarette time. You've had your break. You've had your 7 hour break. It's cigarette time right now." Something that I am going to work on, because you know what? I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I don't want to come out here and talk about, our diets and our healthy eating and what's distributing to heart disease and cancers. When smoking is probably, besides alcohol, is the worst thing that you're going to do to yourself. Is going to do to your body. Smoking affects every single organ. So I really got to quit. I really do. And then I think to myself, should I pick a timeline? Should I pick a date? You know, say a week from now. Give myself that time. Or should I do it like midweek? Or should I just totally forget about a time frame? You know, why should I set myself up for failure? Do it on my own terms. It's just like, getting off all the donuts and chips and pastry and stuff like that. It wasn't sudden. You know, I had, you just say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to have this today. I'm not going to have that today, whatever the case may be. And it just went that way. Eventually, it just boom, no. I would generally almost smoke a pack a day. That's horrible. I'm going to have to figure it out. And for people out there who have quit smoking, I mean, they whatever methods they use or whatever methods they work for them, you know, may not work for everybody, right? Maybe the patch won't work for me. Maybe the nicotine gum won't work for me. You know, I don't know because, and by saying that, I haven't tried it. So maybe it's something I should give it a go. Go down to the pharmacy down the street and go up to the pharmacist and say, look, you know what? I want to quit smoking. You know, what are the methods do you have here? And where do I start? Because I want to really quit that. I want to kick the habit. I really do. And thinking that way too is a to me is a first step. Like it's 9:10 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, and I've had one cigarette, and that was at 7 o'clock in the morning. So 2 hours now, I haven't had a cigarette. I came up here upstairs, firing up the laptop, doing other research, about diets and healthy eating and things like that, and getting the show ready. Am I craving it? Yeah, absolutely, I'm craving it. Maybe just take it hour by hour, I guess. Something. Something's got to work. Something's got to work to shut that craving off, just like we shut the craving off of all those refined carbohydrates. All that stuff is has been cut out of my diet just by cutting back and then not having them at all. So hopefully, like I'm gonna do another show tonight, because weekends I can't. I try. I believe me. I tried doing shows throughout the week, and I would set the show up the day before, and I would look at my itinerary for the day for work. I'm thinking, okay, this isn't half bad. I can get back in time for this and everything else like that. Didn't happen. And then people like you guys out there who follow me and stuff like that and say, oh, Trucker's got a show coming up Tuesday night or whatever like that, and then it doesn't happen. So I will be doing another show tonight and Sunday morning. I had the week off, but that's personal reasons why I had the week off, and it's still going on. I'm a little eerie about going back on Monday, but I can't just I can't just sit around and worry about what's coming next. So I gotta do other things, you know. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do a show tonight, Sunday morning, Sunday evening. Try to get in as many shows as I possibly can on the weekend, right? And then hopefully, and then maybe hopefully, next week I can tell you, that, hey, look, you know what, I got down to a half a pack, or hopefully I can tell you that I cut smoking out altogether. It's probably going to be one or the other. And I hope it is the latter. I hope it is the latter, that, hey, you know what, I was able to kick the habit. That's my goal. So thank you for joining me this morning here, Saturday, the 25th of February. Still a little bit of snow coming down. Oh well, it is what it is. Spring's almost here. So like I said, thank you for coming out and joining me. And I'll be back out here tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll talk um, about more healthy stuff. Yeah, I think talking about more healthy stuff and stuff like that is really gonna send me in that direction of kicking the habit of smoking. I think that might even help too. But I can have a show. Matter of fact, I can have a show about smoking tonight at 9:30 p.m. So if you can join me, that'd be great. If you can't, I understand. But until then, enjoy your weekend. And thank you for coming out here and joining me. This is the Truckers Podcast, FYI. I'm your host, Doug from Ontario, Canada. Thank you